I go through this very quickly to give you the opportunity to ask questions, because we think, or we expect you to be working on a specific case and potentially have some specific questions. First of 3 sessions, and we start with this one. Okay, what will we go through? We will look at why we do the EIP, so you know the main intentions and ambitions of EIP, what we have as minimum requirements for a submission, what the process is to get your submission in, and then some information on what does it need to be a winner, what happened in the past, and some extra points that came up during previous Q&As, and how we will help you during the process. So first of all, the origin of the EIP in its current format is somewhere almost 15 years ago. In 2008, 2010, we had the first major crisis that made companies and organizations cut into their investment in people, into their learning and development. So we thought that the best way to support how professionals in this sector work is by showing some impactful cases, and making them as a result of this award is showing that it is worthwhile to invest in a learning and development intervention. So this also means that our main focus has remained and will remain impact. So it's not is it a fancy, is it a wow project? It's mainly, what is the impact? Did it really solve the problem it intended to solve? We make this cooperative competition, meaning we have suppliers and client working together on the submission. Suppliers can be varied. It's not just business schools, it's all providers in the learning and development space, including the in-house departments. And then on the other end, they are servicing a client organization, which can be small, which can be large, it can be governmental, NGOs. So it can be a large bunch of organizations, and it can be any combination of these. It doesn't need to be one-on-one. It can be 2 suppliers and 2 clients, or whatever combination. But we need at least 1 supplier and at least 1 client submitting the case. What we do, and you will see if you have read the cases and browsed all the winners, we have made some categories. So we go, to give you some idea, we go from leadership, so incumbent leaders, to talent, so future leaders, from professionals to entire organizations in development. And we also have had categories on ecosystem or ESG development. We make the categories, we cluster the categories based on similarity, and also due to the fact that we only want a given jury group to read 10 cases maximum. You don't have to choose your category. You don't know where you're going to end up. We will put you together with similar cases, which have similar challenges. So where you have the best comparable environment for your case. We review on 4 key areas. One is, what was the issue, why you were starting this case? What was the problem you were trying to solve? What was the effective commitment, which could be a slice of that challenge or a specific part of the challenge? What was done, so what was delivered, and where can you show, what are the indicators that indeed you impacted that challenge, you delivered that solution with impact? The guidelines for submission are published on the website. It is important that there is authorship. If you haven't got an authorship form at the end from the 2 sites or the 3 or the 4 sites, we will have, unfortunately, to get your case sidetracked and not put in front of the jury. There is a pre-writing checklist. There are some submission guidelines. The word count is 4,000 words, excluding appendices. You can work with bullet points, but be cautious. Everything which is in your appendices is not guaranteed to be read by the jury. And everything you start moving too much away from the perception of a 4,000 words can also make your case being less favorable by some jury members. Be aware that you have time until the 15th of March to submit your case. But of course, you need to go back and forth between client and supplier, or maybe multiple of those, and have an agreement at the final end, which is signed off in the authorship form. We advise to use the structure on the 4 areas, so the challenge, the commitment, the L&D initiative, and the impact, because it's easier reading for the jury. A jury will read your entire case at once. So if you have something in the challenge that you want to refer to in the L&D initiative, you don't need to copy paste it again. You can refer to it. So you group it in the 4 sections, but you can reuse or put your part of your case at any of these 4 sections where you think it is best suited. Know that given the fact we are looking at impact you had on the initial challenge, 30% of the marks go to the description of the challenge, 30% of the marks go to the description of the impact. So 60% is, what was the problem? Did you move the needle on that problem? Keep that marking scheme in mind. And we know that the best persons to comment on this are typically the client's organization. While we know that in most cases, the ones who are writing the case are the supplier organizations. So that's where the crossover starts, where you will need to partner effectively. Don't polish too much. If there are critical moments in your journey, things that happen that change your course, put them in. That makes your case alive. Know that the people who are going to look at your case are all professionals from within the sector. They have been winners, they have been on the jury before. So if they see too polished material, they get a bit suspicious. So honesty can play in your favor. Imagine you are a jury member, how you would look at the case if it cuts in front of you. If you consider publication, think about the reader, but also the jury as a reader. Is there insider information, jargon, abbreviations? Make sure your confidentiality issues are addressed, copyright problems are addressed. Make sure that at the beginning you have a publishable executive summary that we can, the moment we identify and announce the winners, we will not ask you to review the executive summary before publication. We will ask when we publish the full case if you want to review and want to take pieces out because you consider them confidential. In a way, you want them to be read by the jury, who has an obligation of confidentiality even within their own organization. But for executive summary, make sure you have a one-pager which is completing the case, not just introducing the case, but publishable as is. Maximum 4,000 words, all text, type-based content page summary, introduction, main body, and conclusions, not the images, not the references, not the footnotes, not the embedded videos. If it gets too long, people might not open the videos. Okay, fine. Don't start putting 50 diagrams with bullet points because you then can avoid the word count. So make sure that your message is in the text. Next one. Images and videos are not compulsory. So we don't want to put you too much at cost or work, but it makes them alive. And they should be embedded in your PDF. So the jury can read the case, click on it, and read and work with it. Remember, it's not the way you polish it that will make you win, it's the content. We have had cases that were so good that you could say, whatever packaging, they would have been the winner anyhow. The full paper and appendices can only be sent on the online registration form in the PDF format. As I said, no need to specify the category. We will just cluster similar cases and you will be compared to cases that are best comparable to yours. The declaration of authorship you can do via separate mail or via the online registration. The deadline is 15th of March 2023. And Florence has added at your local time anywhere in the world. End of the 15th of March. The feedback on the selection is planned by end of May, because of course we need to read all the cases, cluster them in groups, build the juries, let the juries read the cases, have a review. So it takes some time. Next. As a winner, we will showcase your case in the Global Focus special issue. You can see them of the last years online. So you can get some ideas. These are edited versions of the cases. So this is extra opportunity to polish your case in the press and social media and on the executive development conference, which we are preparing for October in Switzerland, in St. Gallen, where we have the winning cases presented and an award ceremony. Always big fun. You can find the previous year's winning papers on the EFMD website. You see that you will have the EiP for each of the years, the gold and the silver. For each of the cases, you will find the executive summary, the full case, and of course, you will find in the Global Focus supplement also an edited version of the case. We've seen high benefits for participants of these awards because they use this as promotional material, but it also structures the experience. So you're kind of going through work to formalize all what you learned through the case. And we've also heard that some even use the case even if they didn't get gold or silver. That is part of the partnership that people have liked. Some extras, maybe before I can still check if I didn't forget, but we will only publish the winners. So there is no list of organizations that have submitted. We've had some organizations who like this very much because then they are not seen as having lost the competition. The jury is comprised of people that come from supplier and client side. We will have business schools, but at least one non-business school supplier and one client or corporate organization, or even two in each of the juries. We try to have client and supplier in balance, knowing that I'm heading the jury and I am from a corporate background years ago, but that's my main perspective. So we put me in the balance to get an even equal participation from supplier and client side if needed. You will get feedback even if you didn't get an award. So every submission will get a feedback after the jury process. what the jury liked about your case and what the jury questioned about the case. You don't need to have an EFMD member. If none of the partnering organizations is a member of EFMD, you will be asked to pay a small handling fee. A case cannot be resubmitted. So if you think your case will be better next year, it might be better off to wait for next year. So we can't guarantee consistency between juries. We don't want a debate that the jury last year said A and now the jury this year says B, and so on. A case is submitted once, you get your feedback, and that's it. You will find the brief, submission guidelines, frequently asked questions, and the web link for the submission on the EIP webpage. You probably browsed through that already. And you can get support throughout the process. Florence has a list of all people that have shown interest. We'll keep connected, ask where are you still counting on submitting? But you can contact us at any time to get support. We want your case and your effort to be shining from the start. That's it. So gives this open for questions, and I stop sharing so we can see the full screen of participants here, and I put you all on the big screen so I see you all in front of me. So who shoots first?
May I ask a question?
Go ahead.
This is something that you probably already said at the beginning, or it's probably in the documentation. Just to have it clear, I understand that the maximum text is 4,000 words, and that includes the executive summary.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That was a...
Yeah. Yes, Margaret?
Yes, actually I had two quick questions. One, is there a limit, a maximum word limit for the executive summary?
No.
Okay, just concise and thorough.
Yeah.
Okay. And my second question was about, the authorship rights. I assume that if the case is not selected as a winning case, that the organizations are free to publish the case elsewhere if it were possible.
Yes.
Okay.
There's no limitation on using the material that you developed.
All right. Thank you.
Ekaterina?
Thank you. I have two quick questions. One is that from studying the awards from this year, the silver and the golden selection, I noticed that there is certainly a pattern, I guess, in collaborating with quite well-known global businesses. And I wondered if you feel that a project that focuses more on collaboration with SMEs and what we in Germany would call the Mittelstand is something that is that falls into the remit of something that you would be interested to find a case on.
Yes, there are quite a few, and I think if you go a few years back, from the top of my head, you will find quite a number that work with SMEs. Right. So that is clearly, we are not looking at the brand of supplier or client or the attractiveness for the publication or brand of EIP. So we are not image managing in no way. So everything can be done. I've seen cases where a government or organization is helping SMEs to be prepared for post-Brexit. I've seen cases where SMEs were being prepared to make their sustainability reporting because they were required by their as a subcontractor to have that by their, so things like that. So there are quite some SMEs passing, but it's showing the impact that it makes the case.
Right. Great, thank you. And just a follow-up technical question. You mentioned about embedding videos into the PDF. I'm aware of how to embed videos as a video file, but just to clarify, it refers to embedding videos, but not using hyperlinks, right? So we are not allowed to, right?
You can put hyperlinks, but that are then appendices where, again, the jury is not 100% sure to go and look at that.
Yes, thank you.
You can use links at any time, of course. Armando?
Hi, thanks for the presentation, very clear. I'm just wondering about the relation among the number of cases that apply and the number of winners.
Okay, there is no set, but you can say if there are 40 submissions, there will be at least 8 winners, because our limit is we want the juries not to be reading more than 10 cases. Now, we've had categories where by nature we only had 7 cases or had 8 cases. So let's say if we have 40 cases, we will have 4 to 6 categories, which means we will have 8 to 12 winners, to give you just that example. The main point is we want to have between 7 and 10 cases by jury. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Very clear.
Nidish?
Hi, my question is related to this partnership aspect between the supplier and client. So I am from a business school. So I am been working with the company for some time now for my thesis work. And so when you say partnership, is it that as a business school that we are partnering to find a solution, or is it that I help the company in documenting this particular initiative they started and found a solution for? Which of these two? I'm just a little confused about that.
No. The point is that an organization comes to you with a challenge, and you help them to address that challenge, to find a solution for that challenge.
Okay. So so as a business school, I help them and then I document it together with the company. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you.
Barbara had a question, but meanwhile has withdrawn, so probably we addressed it. Yogan?
Yeah, hi. Perhaps a question for Florence, because you're kindly offering her support between now and the submission date. I'm just wondering, is there typical queries that you have helped with, Florence, or what is the nature of the support that you might be able to add to us?
Well, there are various questions, but very often the answer are on the website or amongst the frequently questioned FQA, the frequently question asked. But one of them might be the last minute decision. Well, I would like to have 1 extra day or 2. Is that fine? Our company client hasn't signed or haven't had the time to review the document, so we cannot yet submit it, because we are aware that on the client side it's not always easy to have the approval. It needs to go through different departments, so to revise the document. And there, of course, you can imagine that with the work that you have been putting together with the client on the document, we will accept a very slight extension, but please, not along, because with the jury we are very short in time. So these are classic questions, but usually it's only getting an extra day or 2. What else as a questions? The number of the numbers of words is 4,000, as you have seen. Again, we can be a bit flexible, but no exaggeration. And these are the kind of questions that I get from time to time. Or can we include lots of picture with lot of text? But we will say, well, be reasonable, because as Jan said, it's not the purpose of putting all the text in picture where we won't be counting the number of words. So be reasonable. You all have to be aware that the jury are, like all of us and all of you, very busy, so make sure that they manage to read your document, make it a nice document and easy to understand, and don't make it too long. Appendix is maybe great and interesting content, but be sure that they also have a lot of work. So be cautious about what the jury would like to read. What else as questions? That's good.
I think it's kind of the arbitration. Are we within scope or are we just out of scope?
Yeah.
And Florence gave a few answers and typical questions. Sometimes it's like, we have 4 suppliers. Which one of the 4? We can't have all 4 signing the authorship form. Which one would be the best? We can't get the main, what do we do? And so it's kind of, how do we make sure we remain within scope with all the challenges that we have in writing the case? I want to add one point is, take into account that the jury members, almost all of them, went through this exercise themselves before. And we've had jury members that were really negative about some cases on the word count, because they had done everything to stay within the 4,000, and then they see some people being very creative with the 4,000. So you can have some people very upset by your creativity because they all went through the same process themselves. So imagine you're here as a group, as a collective, that one of you starts playing very much at the border. You wouldn't like that too. And if you're in the jury, you don't like it at all. So it's checking, are you within the frame, and that kind of checks and balances. Florence, and sometimes myself, are doing upon request.
Okay, thank you. And the web pages do make it very clear anyway, so appreciate that.
An important element is, well, I think that most of you here are from the supplier side, is involving the client rapidly in the process and in the discussion, because it's worthwhile doing it, not only for the document, I think, and for the submission, but also for strengthening the relationship. So that's what we hear from the participants from previous year. Whatever the result is from the submission, they have really enjoyed this journey together with the client, but jury can notice very well whether the client has been involved in the process or not. So it's important. Yeah, we have a question from Naye Palacios. I saw your message on Slack as well, not on Slack, sorry, on the chat. But is it related to that question, Naye, that you would like to know which Spanish companies have been winning the awards?
Yes.
I can't answer like this by heart, so I will have to look. So if you don't mind reminding me about that question by email, and I will look at it at a later stage.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Regarding the slides that Jan has been sharing today, we will of course be distributing it tomorrow together with the recording of this session, so that you can share it as well with colleagues and look at it again.
Sorry, I was off because the battery was off. So I'm back. There were some questions in the chat.
Yeah, but
well, there is no certification. So if you want to know which Spanish or other companies that were in, you can see them on the website, the ones that have been winning in the past. So that's
over the last 5 or 7 years.
Yeah.
But I answered to
okay, sorry.
And the
So-
next question as well, they know that they will get the slides.
That I heard. Okay.
Hi, Florence. Preetham here from Dell Technologies. Hey,
Yeah.
so is there any changes from the last year? I just want to check with you guys.
From last year, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so last year we actually had a kind of a delay, so we thought we'll submit this year.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
still going.
So any changes? No changes, right?
No.
Right.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Florence, Jan, hi. How are
Hi.
you? Good afternoon, good evening.
Yeah. Hello, good morning for you.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you for your time and the opportunity to know more about the steps towards participating in this process. My question is about the following. So, we are part of Intercorp's Corporate University, so USEC, right, in Peru. And we're very interested in taking part of this challenge. We, as you know, provide educational leadership and best management practices courses to companies in the group. So my question was about, for instance, we're a company within the group, an educational company or institution, actually, providing services to companies within the group. So I'm thinking out loud about potential projects that probably have been, let's say, group-wise, meaning that it's a project that we have delivered for a number of companies within the group. Would that be okay, or has to be a project with only one company?
It can be different companies, but you will need to have at a certain moment in time a request on behalf of someone representing these different companies, kind of saying, this is a challenge we have, help us address that challenge. It's also an answer to one of the questions in the chat. If you work with entrepreneurs directly, who has been on behalf of those entrepreneurs putting the challenge to you to help them? It's if you have a group of SMEs, who is the intermediate organization putting the question to you as a supplier? Otherwise, you get a bit in an open enrollment program. We think this is a challenge we can help you with. Please, can you subscribe to this program? And then we help you. That's not the type of programs we are looking for. We are looking for customized solutions to specific challenges, even if they could address a group of companies. But somebody has to be at the origin of the request.
Perfect. Oh yeah. Thank you for that. It's a spectacular clarification, yeah, because exactly that was my concern. In our case, this idea that I have in mind, the request or the challenge was put on by the corporate CEO. So the corporate CEO identified this challenge, and that's why it moved forward, let's say. So that would be eligible, let's say.
In a way, I follow a rule. Sometimes it's not 100%, but a rule that one of my former bosses said, follow the money. So who put money on the table to solve this problem? And what did that organization, that person get in return for the money they put on the table? That's kind of the simplest expression of where we are going to look for who got the impact. Because sometimes you have intermediary organizations, and then the question is, who is now the one benefiting? And then you need to be sure that the one who initiated and kind of paid for it, that you document what that organization got back in return.
Okay. Got it. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Quick question, probably a clarifying question, just around the different categories, the 4 different categories, and maybe not specifically identifying which one your kind of submission fits into. Yeah. Is it worth targeting, it might touch on all those 4 elements, but is it worth kind of being a little bit more overt in saying that this is more around organizational development, for example, even though it involves leaders? Does that make sense?
It doesn't necessarily, you don't necessarily need to start targeting, because you don't, in a way, you don't know who the other submissions are. And
Yes.
you put together with submissions that are closest to yours to create those clusters of maximum 10 cases to be read by the jury. So we don't know where you will end up, because we don't know, and you can't know what the other submissions are.
So just write a very truthful account of what played out, rather than kind of hitting those buzzwords.
Yeah, and some people said, oh, we had expected to be in the talent development and you put us in the organizational development. Well, it's because your case was clustered with other cases and then we put a label on it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Radka?
Thank you. I'm interested in what you've said before about this sort of financial contractual obligations. So I wonder whether all the cases are almost like a consultancy contract, or is it essential that there is that money flows for this sort of piece?
Well, no, it's not essential. It could be support in kind. By time or expertise being delivered, but there is a vested interest. So somebody wants the solution to be there and has put something on the table to convince you to work on it. Yeah. So that's what we're looking for.
Doesn't have to be money.
Doesn't have to be money, but let's say one of the border, I might not do justice to the case, so I'm going to create a bit of a virtual one. But one of the borderlines could be that a supplying organization, because of ESG interest and they're doing good for the community, starts a program and says, look, we have all the professors and we have the organization doing this for free because they want to do a support and give something back to the country and the community. Then you start getting sometimes on why and who has now really being the initiator. Was it something that is there for the image enhancing of the supplier, or is it there because somebody at the community or within the country has said, we urgently need to do something about that? So I hope you understand there is a bit of a balance here.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting. I actually never thought about this aspect, to be honest, because we do a lot of work because of our mission. Yeah. So we work with companies not to make financial gains from it. Yeah. But no, thanks for explaining. But yeah, it wasn't in my frame, to be honest.
Yeah. And it's clear somewhere you will need a presentation or a letter or somebody asking you do something about this. Yeah. And then you can say, oh, we were going to do this for free because this fits in our mission. That's where the double thing sometimes comes in. Yeah. Johan?
Yeah, hi. I haven't read the previous submissions in a whole lot of detail, so I need to do that. But my question is, in terms of describing the impact that's been achieved, do you have a preference for quantitative data, qualitative data? What's the mix, or does it really depend on each case and the relationship and how we see fit?
It depends on the case and how you see fit, but I can give you some guidance on where jury members will make kind of discretionary remarks. First of all, if it's testimonials, okay, it makes it alive, but numbers will always win from testimonials. That's one, because then you give it substance. It's not just you find 5 people that want to give a positive remark. No, you can say there are 20% or 30% that kind of had this impact and so on. So that numbers will always win on testimonials. A second one is find indicators beyond the participant. There are sometimes stops by participation related indicators. By like, would you recommend this course to somebody else? But what an individual said it had, how did this go beyond the individual that was in the program? How did this impact the organization, the team, the business process, the portfolio of clients, the portfolio of products, the business positioning, that kind of indicators? Yeah. So for sure, testimonials of some participants on how they felt through the course are not going to make you win the award. They can make it alive, but you can find always someone who wants to give a positive feedback on a video, and then that is going to, if somebody is in your group giving more substantial, verifiable data, that case will always be before yours.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so, sorry, I had a question too. Following your previous answer, does it mean that if the project is not scalable to a large number of people, it's not worth submitting it?
No, that's not the answer. What we're saying, if you have a project with 20 people that are, for instance, going to do a turnaround in their business, and 10 out of 20 had a successful turnaround, then your case might be much more convincing than somebody who has 5,000 people going through the program and nothing to show for it.
Okay, perfect, thanks.
By the way, we're very cautious on that, and we always in the jury make people aware that there might be things that are impressive, but that being impressive is not a proof of impact. You can play impressive football, but not make a goal, okay?
We saw that recently. I'm sorry if there are English people in the room.
Barbara?
Yes, yeah, now I do have a question again. And this one is about the impact piece. I understand that having the best results in the survey ever is not the aim of the game, but getting the learning out of the experience over time and doing things differently as a provider, as a company, and as a leader might be the impact you're looking for?
Yeah, mainly versus the challenge. So if the challenge is documented, that's where we're going to go back to and see if it moves the needle. So it's is the challenge in A, we want to see something in A and not on. So we've had cases where people were, and again, I might not do justice to the case, so I consider it a virtual one, but people were asked to start new business and innovate. And then one of the indicators was the company has grown its market presence by 150%. Now, it doesn't say anything about the 150% growth being done by new services or new products. So it's impressive, the 150%, but how is it related to your demand to be more creative and innovative and start new things? So I think that's where the link lies.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Hello.
Gabriela.
Hi, Gabriela here. So we can say it is more about the challenge related to the impact and the results
Yeah. So
That could be a key.
Yeah, if you look at your challenge and the impact needs to show that you moved the needle on the challenge.
Yeah.
Not that you did something impressive and that everybody was happy.
Yeah, of course, and related to the data, not too impressive, but the challenge is kind of the key.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Looks like we cover many questions and answer.
Yeah, there's the question, is there equal benefits for the clients and the suppliers? Of course. Otherwise, they wouldn't do the effort of documenting the project. So if people start documenting, they have a catch. They know why they want to do it. For instance, a supplier wants to do it to give market presence and credibility. A client might do it because they want to make some noise and internal marketing on the project. And are proud of it and want the rest of the company to be proud of it and aware of it. Yeah.
I believe we get progressively to the end of this session. As Jan said, we are available for any further question via email or wherever channel that you would like us to help you during this process. There are 2 additional information sessions in January and February, but they will be exactly like today with a short presentation by Jan, followed by a Q&A. So if you want to join again, or some of your colleagues or client or partnering organization, feel free to do so. And meanwhile, I think it's time to wish you all our best wishes for the end of the year. Don't forget to take a break, and we look forward to receiving all of your very interesting project and submissions. So many thanks for having been here all around and very active with your questions. We look forward to see you again.
And I look forward to reading your cases, because again, we will have if this group is only part of the ones that are submitting, this is going to be again a very diverse set of cases. And I'm very, very, very curious.